When I was going to school, my mentor said to me, he said, "I think you're a sculptor trapped in a painter's body." And I didn't really know what that meant at the time that he said that to me, but I think I've since kind of fully rounded that out and indeed became that person. I was the type of person who hated framing my artworks. For a long time, I wouldn't frame artworks. That's when I began kind of cutting it out and adding this dimension to it. I'll still frame it, but that's just so that I can sell it. But I really don't want to. Well, I've kind of always been an artist. My first friends were my crayon box, for sure. My work is mainly mixed media. My skill set's in oil painting, but I've always been drawn to drawing mediums as well, colored pencil, graphite, ink work. I kind of like to work with whatever I feel like I need to use at the moment, even for the art piece that I'm creating. So it's kind of like whatever inspires me. So I graduated kind of right in the middle of the recession. So that idea of me going on to teach or kind of do something kind of immediately out of school was gone. So I ended up moving home, and that was at the time my worst nightmare, really. And I moved in with my parents, and at that time I didn't really think of Glens Falls as a creative community, and that was just because I'd been so detached from it for so long. And I actually got a job at like a chocolate making shop, and I remember like kind of waiting on customers, and people would ask you kind of, what are you doing, like who are you, sort of questions. And I shared that I had my master's degree. And they're like, well, what are you doing here? I was like, I don't know. Soon after that, a job opened up at the local arts council, and that's really where I got my start. And from there, I taught at the university, and then after doing that for about 6 years, then the position at the museum opened up, and thought I would kind of be a good fit for that. And what artist doesn't want to work at the Hyde Collection? So for me, no, I'm not like an artist full time, but I'm part of a creative atmosphere that informs my artwork as well. I always worked mixed media. I always worked with kind of bright colors. I've always been interested in bright colors. And I've always also worked from drawing from life. And it's really that like love for drawing that my artwork really has a launching point. It just, I have a friend who said sometimes you kind of have to unteach yourself a little bit. And once I kind of reached that kind of part of my career, feeling more confident in my ability to just choose my own subject matter and make things the way that I wanted to, then that's when things started to take off. So I tend to draw plants, either plants that I have or kind of out in nature. I'm also an avid kayaker, so I'll go out and find scenes kind of out along the river or a lake. So sometimes I'm working directly from the object, or sometimes I'm using photographic reference. I'll do like a quick sketch, and then it kind of evolves from there. So I may add ink, and then I may start cutting it out, and then I may start adding colored pencil or acrylic paint, or maybe even oil paint. So I kind of just grab whatever I need at the moment, and it becomes a little bit more abstract. It's not a literal representation of the original scene or object. Alchemy has to do with like kind of finding like the hidden purpose of something, right? And kind of producing this thing that didn't otherwise exist out of lots of different elements and materials. So it's that mixed media kind of component that I'm working with, or seeing the form within the form. Like Michelangelo does that a little bit, right? And I was always obsessed with his works, but usually people are obsessed with the David, and I really liked his bound slaves sculptures, and that's because you kind of really saw the hand of the artist. So you can't really see the hand of the artist in my work, but it's present there through the use of all the different materials combined together. And kind of making a new form from something that I've seen or been inspired by is the alchemy piece. I'm looking forward to having my studio back. Recently, I had to make the tough decision to let my studio go. I had been in the shirt factory here in Glens Falls for 10 years, actually. I am now renovating a 2-story barn to become the new studio that's on my property at my home. It's 100 years old. It was originally one of the ice houses for the city. It didn't have any insulation. We even had to break out a part of the floor and refill it in. We want to conserve as much of the original wood as possible, so we've been removing those interior boards, and I don't even know how many thousands of nails that I've pulled at this point. A new studio is going to provide me, I think, to become even increasingly more sculptural. I've had to work pretty small format the last however many years. I think I'll be able to start working larger and maybe even thinking in terms of installation. So I'm kind of slowly starting to work my way towards that, and my work would be well suited for that sort of atmosphere, and the barn is really going to be able to provide me with the space to do that. You have like a really great power as a creative person because you're an incredibly well-adept problem solver, and that's a really important skill to have no matter what career you pursue. So, take ownership of that and see it through.